The life of the unheeded prophet rarely ends in comfort and often courts danger. Pat Buchanan endured both with the resolve of a warrior. As the most prominent paleoconservative in American politics, Buchanan stood so far ahead of his time that today's MAGA agenda looks like a photocopy of his 1992 presidential campaign platform. From the culture war to working-class economics and immigration, Buchanan served as the American Cassandra, right about nearly every major question yet scorned by Republican elites. Pundits and politicians dismissed him as a bigot, a racist, an anti-Semite, even likening him to a Nazi. Many of the loudest voices came from within his own party, but Buchanan never bent. He held the line, and decades later, nearly all of his predictions have come true. He kept the torch of paleoconservatism burning when no one else would, and that torch lit the fire of the MAGA movement. Born in 1938 in Washington, D.C., Buchanan rose to prominence as a newspaper columnist and editor before joining President Richard Nixon's White House as a speechwriter and political strategist. He later became a fixture on TV shows like Crossfire and The McLaughlin Group, and did a second tour at the White House as Ronald Reagan's communication director from 1985 to 1987. Buchanan could have coasted on that kind of resume, but he didn't. Instead, he broke with the GOP's managerial globalist consensus and challenged it head-on. In 1992, he ran against George H.W. Bush in the Republican primary, furious over the president's betrayal of his No New Taxes pledge. But Buchanan's campaign wasn't just about tax policy. He warned about endless foreign wars, the abandonment of the Christian faith, and the hollowing out of American industry, along with the long-term consequences of mass migration. In his famous culture war speech at the 1992 Republican National Convention, Buchanan didn't just warn Republicans, he challenged the entire direction of the American ruling class. Quote, "My friends, this election is about more than who gets what. It's about who we are. It's about what we believe and what we stand for as Americans. There's a religious war going on in this country. It's a culture war, as critical to the kind of nation we shall be as the Cold War itself. For this war is for the soul of America." End quote. After two more failed presidential bids, Buchanan returned to writing and commentary. He published several influential books, including The Death of the West and Suicide of a Superpower, launched the American Conservative magazine, and penned columns for Videre. At every turn, he tackled controversial topics: foreign intervention, demographic transformation, and the destruction of the American middle class. While neoconservatives dominated Republican politics, Buchanan stood firm, laying the groundwork for the civil war that now rages inside the GOP. Most voters just aren't driven by ideology. They want a politics that serves their families, communities, and country. Conservatism shouldn't revolve around abstractions, but should exist to preserve a way of life. Despite the conservative label, Republican leadership made it clear that it only cared about cutting taxes and waging endless wars. Then came Donald Trump, who bulldozed the GOP establishment by campaigning to secure the border, protect American workers, and end forever wars. Trump won on Buchanan's platform. Hey guys, if you've been watching this show for a while, then you know that around here we encourage something that conservatives usually don't do. Winning. That's why it was so great to see Donald Trump's electoral victory along with the cultural and political momentum that the right just hasn't had in a very long time. But we also know that the fight is far from over, and at some point the left will start pushing for censorship again. If you like what I'm doing here and you want to keep it going, then head over to Blaze TV. They have the behind-the-scenes content, exclusives, and documentaries that you're just not going to see anywhere else. And it starts at just $8 a month, basically the price of a fancy coffee, when you use the promo code Auron at checkout. That's only 26 cents a day to stand with a platform that stands with you. So go to blazetv.com/Auron and subscribe today. That's blazetv.com/Auron. The promo code is AURON, and you'll save $20 right now off the annual plan. As millennial and Gen Z conservatives came of age under Trump, many sought intellectual roots for the movement. They found them in the paleoconservatives: Paul Gottfried, Samuel Francis, and most of all, Pat Buchanan. Clips of Buchanan's speeches and passages from his books now go viral across social media, revealing a man who diagnosed America's decline with uncanny foresight. He has become, retroactively, the elder statesman of the new right, an inspiration to a generation of conservatives eager to challenge the party line and reclaim their country. Buchanan's return to prominence hasn't gone unnoticed by establishment conservatives or the legacy press. Neoconservatives have taken to calling Trump supporters the Buchanan right, a clumsy insult aimed at discrediting the movement by association. The Atlantic recently ran a hit piece titled "The Godfather of the Woke Right," recycling the slur peddled by James Lindsay. The article begrudgingly acknowledged suicide of a superpower as a formative text for the MAGA right, but framed this influence as toxic, an engine of xenophobia and racism. In a time when the GOP sold out to neoconservative globalism, Buchanan held the line. He took on the thankless task of warning his party and his country about the real dangers ahead: mass migration, national decline, foreign entanglements, long before anyone in power was ready to listen. And for his efforts, he was ridiculed, condemned, and cast aside. That must never happen again. We're just not going to let it happen again. The term Buchanan right shouldn't be a smear. It should be a badge of honor. The left has been tearing down everything that is beautiful about our society. It has been tearing down our culture. It has been tearing down our religion. It has been tearing down our families. It has been tearing down the statues of our American founders. And you know what? The right should start building. We must erect monuments to men who stand firm when it matters most. The first should be Pat Buchanan. We can no longer elect him as president, but we can honor him now while he's still here to see it. Let's build the monument that he deserves, one that pays tribute to the man who carried the torch through the wilderness and lit the way for the movement that would make America great again. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, click like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time to do so. I'm pretty serious about looking into building a statue in honor of Pat Buchanan. If you guys have suggestions on where you think that monument should be built, if you would be someone who supports it, if you know about the process, let me know in the comments. I want to pursue this. I haven't figured everything out yet, but I think this is something that we should actually be doing, not just talking about. If you'd like to get these broadcasts as podcasts, make sure you subscribe to the Auron MacIntyre Show on your favorite podcast platform. And when you do, leave a rating or review. It really helps with the algorithm magic. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter or Gab or Substack or Instagram, if you would like to watch these videos on Rumble or Odyssey, the links to do all of that are down below in the description. And of course, if you would like to support the show, head over to shopblazemedia.com, click on the Auron MacIntyre collection, and there's merch there you can pick up to let people know that you enjoy watching. Thank you everybody for watching, and as always, I'll talk to you next time.